Okay guys, I'm going to measure the pistons, the overalls first. Piston 1, 1693, right. Piston whole assembly, 1691. Only measures to the gram, these things. If I want to get more technical, I can get something lighter. That's piston 3, 1689. Four, 1687. Right. Number 5, 1690. Okay. Number 6. 1684. Okay. Well, the book, stupid book of knowledge, says they should be within 5 grams. I'd rather them be within at least 1 gram. Even perfect be better. So I'm going to have to strip these back down and then now weigh the rods, weigh the gudgeon pins, weigh the pistons. The rings all should be the same, but there's nothing, I'm not going to be checking them, but I've also, anyway, something else has got to happen with them anyway, so I'm going to have to strip these back down and we'll go from there. Okay, got them all apart, back apart. I've just left that oil ring in there. Still not 100% sure if that's correct. It should be. It's there, it's supposed to be on, so. Anyway, I'm going to weigh each piston. I'm going to weigh each rod. And I'm going to weigh each gudgeon pin. I'm not going to worry about the rings. And I'm going to see if I can swap some parts around and get them close before I start taking weight off things. I can take a little bit out of the pistons and I'll just bit off the rods, and I'm probably going to take a bit out of the gudgeon pins. That's where the weight is. Right, we'll just weigh this piston up and see how it is. What do we got? 742 for 1. Okay, 2. 744. That's odd. Anyway, might be able to just switch these pistons around and get it right. 743. 4740. 5741. Number is yes, 740. 740? Okay, I'll just figure that out for a second. Okay, number 1, swapping 1 with piston 6 takes me to 1690. It was 1693, so I straight away dropped 3 grams. So I'll mark all that down and do the next one. What I've got is the heaviest piston 1690, the whole thing, the rod and everything, and the lightest is 1681. One of these rods was replaced. I don't know why, but I think it was 6, but 6 is the lightest. 9 grams is a hell of a lot. Anyway, I'm just going to have to keep shuffling these pistons around, see if I can bring it closer, and then I've got to work off the lightest number. Okay, just by shuffling the pistons around, I've gone from being 9 grams out to 5 grams out, from the heaviest to the lightest piston. Now that's within spec. Bentley, in that stupid book of knowledge, says they must be within 5 grams or less. No more than 5 grams. But I think we can make it better than that. I want it better than that, but at least we got it to within spec just by switching the pistons around. I've renumbered them, so that's in there. Now I'm going to weigh the gudgeon pins and we'll see what they come up at. Okay, just by measuring the gudgeon pins, I found out that one was 116, the others were 115, but the lightest one, which the lightest set, is 114. So I've switched them around, and now I've gone from a discrepancy of 9 originally, then I went to a discrepancy of 5. Now I'm down to, the heaviest is 187 and the lightest is 184, so now I've got a discrepancy of 3 grams. That's well within spec. I think we can do a little bit better than that. I'll just shave a little bit of weight off something on 6 and 5. If I can just pull a gram off them, then I'll be only within 2 grams. And then I'll just see what happens anyway. I'm getting there. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. To within 1 gram. They're all 1686 except for 3. It's 1685. I had to pull out this bloody thing here. It's a lot more accurate. It weighs to the 100th of a gram. There's a bit of a discrepancy in some of them rods. You can take a bit out of them, but they're hard. It's hard to grind shit off them things. No, not the rods, the gudgeon pins. So anyway, you can take a bit out of the pistons. So what you do, this area here, that edge, see that edge? You can take a bit out of those. So what I'm going to do, 5 of these pistons, I'm going to nick a bit off each corner there. Not a lot. You can't touch the skirts, you can't touch the outside of the piston. This isn't really a piston for that type of thing, it's not a performance piston. So you can just snick a bit off this edge. That's it. And a gram of this shit's a lot. It's probably half a teaspoon, so I'm not taking that much off it. But I'm just going to take a bit off that, each for 5 of these pistons, and that's it. It's miles within spec. It's almost perfectly balanced. It's to within a gram. All 6 pistons. And that's bloody good because the book says to within 5 grams. So we've smashed that. Okay, we started out at 1690 was the heaviest and the lightest was 1681. Started moving things around. Picked up a few grams. Frigged around with the gudgeon pins a bit. They're super hard. I was able to get a bit off of that heaviest one, and then it took a bit out of the pistons where I showed you. Where's that? Where's the fucking? You just take a little bit out of those edges there. You don't take much because you can't put it back. So but now all the assemblies for each piston assembly is 1685. All bang on. I'm very happy with that. Just later on I'm going to gap the rings, throw all that crap together. That thing can go in and it's starting to look like an engine. Okay guys, I've got all this crap back together. I've just left these 2 top rings out, the top and the middle. I'm going to gap them in the morning. I'm getting a bit bloody tired, so I've moved all this shit. I'm just going to make sure they're right. I've got a formula there to make it so I've got the exact right gap I need. Once that's done, I'm going to put them together. I'm going to throw them back in a parts washer, give them a good wash, soak them down with some oil. They're going in. This thing's getting chucked on. That thing's got to just put some small split pins on these bloody sludge straps. That's ready to go in. Figured out that you put the balancer on when it's in, and of course I didn't pull the crankshaft out of this car, and the balancer wasn't marked. It wouldn't have mattered if it was, I suppose, but so I've got no timing. I'm going to have to frick around with a dial indicator to time this motor. Anyway, I'll do that when it comes. Another thing on the internet, luckily, there's guys in Michigan, I think it is, and they started to build one of these engines. You know, they got down to basically this stage, and the same thing happened with their engine. Their piston assembly was out by 9 grams, so they sent it off to a machinist to sort it out, and that's where it ends. But I did find that they said that you put the frickin', like it's got a thing that says front, so you can't put the piston in wrong. But this thing, if I went off that stupid book there, I would have had this in the wrong way. I had it around, I thought they said the numbering, like it's numbered on both sides, but I thought it was just the plain number of the piston. It's actually, you go off this little oil hole here, that's got to go to the right of the driver. So I had it around the other way. Thank frickin' God I found that little thing I was looking at on YouTube. So now I have it on the correct way. I don't know what would have happened if I had it around the wrong way, but I wouldn't like to think about it. Anyway, I just sort of put that in. This book's that vague, it's that stupid. Okay guys, I found this little formula on the internet. The rule for gap and rings is 3.5 thou for every inch of cylinder bore. So I've measured the bore, we've got pretty much 3.5, give or take whatever they call them little lines. So I've sort of figured that out at around 12 thou and a bit. So this thing here, I'm not 100% sure how to read these, I've got to admit. It's 0.33 millimetre, so I'm pretty sure that's 13 thou. That's what I'm calling it anyway. And that really fits in nice. It's a nice tight fit. So these bores should have been, like they went to the machine shop, so I'm going to say that they're all done. I'm not going to check every one of them. I don't see why I should. That's bloody good. I'll check it's twin, but that's it. I'm not going to do every one of them. And again, I probably bloody will. There's its mate. It's exactly the same. A bit blurry that. It does fit in. I tested it. It's a nice tight fit. Right, they're going on the number 1 piston. The number 1 piston, you see where I've taken a bit of weight out of it. It's a bit ugly, but this piston weighed a bit more, and that was the first one I did. But you got to do what you got to do. It's not a beauty contest. You don't see that. You just don't need that weight, and there's plenty of meat there, so that little bit of ugly is not going to hurt it at all. That's actually how it's done, as far as I know anyway. Okay, that's the last one. I did check them all. I didn't check the twins, I just made sure that they were right, but they had been done in the machine shop, so they're gapped. These rings are right, all 6 of them. Can't do this in video at the same time, but if you're doing rings and shit, get yourself one of these bad boys. They're bloody great. They don't take the rings off, they just put them on, but they're way to go. Okay, they're all assembled, all rings cleaned, been washed, re-oiled, they're sitting there ready to go, all numbered, all weighed, everything like that. And I've just got to throw these tiny split pins on these bloody, what do they call those friggin' things again? Sludge traps, yeah. They were solid, had to be cleaned. The oil had turned into mud. They were thick, full of mud. They're supposed to be oil tight, really, but oil does seep in there as you use it. Another thing, I didn't pull this crankshaft out of this car, and for that I have no timing marks, and the stupid book of knowledge only refers to going back to your marks. There's nothing in that stupid book that I can see that tells you how to time this friggin' engine. Doesn't mean it can't be done, but it's just, would have been nice if it had been marked. I could have just threw it in. So now I'm going to have to set up a dial indicator and chuck one of the push rods in onto the number 1 cylinder under the back valve, and find top dead center like that. I'm going to have to frig around and just make sure that it does get done correctly, because I want this to start first go. Maybe second, but I want it to start first go. See if that happens.